So my name is Cikgu Fatimah. You can just call me Cikgu Fatimah. So I have been teaching English for almost more than 5 years. Okay, and yeah, so I'll be explaining about your SPM format first. Then we will go into the lesson. This is about the English format and analysis of SPM English 2019. If you want to know that next year we might have a different format, right? We might change to a new format where you have 4 different papers. But I'm not going to confuse you now because you are still sitting in the old format. Consider it's like an old format for this year and 2020. So we will be following this. I think you will aware about your format, but still I have to brief before we start the lesson. So for your SPM format, for your paper 1, it is 1 hour 45 minutes. You have 2 sections, section A and section B. This is basically your essay paper. So you have section A, you have directed writing, it is 35 marks, and you have section B, continuous writing, which is 50 marks. So for section A, directed writing, 35 marks, basically all the questions that are involved with format, all the formatted essays. For example, formal letters, informal letters, you have article, you have speech, talk, you have report, right? So basically you have to memorize all the format because you get marks separately. So for format, we allocate 3 marks. And then for all the points and your languages, you get rest of uh, 30 marks. And for the continuous writing, usually you will have almost 5 questions and you have to select one which you are comfortable to describe or you able to understand and you want to explain, so you choose that. So that is about your essay question, which is 35 marks and 50 marks. And then when we move on to paper 2, you have 2 hours and 15 minutes. In section A, you have 15 multiple choice questions, meaning the ABC, all right? Even though it's an ABCD question, but I think usually the questions are a bit tricky. They ask about meaning, different words and all that. So make sure your spelling, your vocabulary is very good. Okay. And then for section B, you have 10 short questions. This is the graphic organizer. They give you the table and then you have to fill up the answer. They have the text in the paper. So you just have to select your answer and then you have to identify the correct answer. All right. So for the section C, we have 5 short questions and 1 essay question. That essay meaning your summary. And the 5 question is your reading comprehension. I think this is where the students score the less. Maybe it's quite difficult for the students to identify the answer, but we will definitely go through on this. I think we will do a lot of questions, shouldn't be a problem. And the essay question. If you know how to summarize your point, you have to identify the correct point within the word limit given. You can score 25 marks easily. And the last section will be section D. All right, this is only 1 short question and 1 essay question. Consists of 20 marks. Okay, this is your literature. Okay, for students, usually they think that literature is very easy or you don't have to focus on that. No, 20 marks is actually a lot when they combine and they give you the total sum. I think you are very easy to get 20 marks in your literature. So please focus on your literature. So you have poems. You have actually 4 poems from Form 4 and also Form 5. But there will be only 1 question asked, meaning out of 4 poems, you only have to answer 1. Okay, but it's very difficult to predict which one is coming out. But we will go through all 4. And 1 essay question is your novel, which is Dear Mr. Kilmer. So this is a very, very simple tip for this is for your paper 1, for your essay. Use the correct formatting for letters. Letters are divided into 2. Definitely we know about it. We have informal and formal, but they have totally different formats, right? One with the right hand side, one with the left hand side. So you should know what is the difference between both formats. Okay. Remember where the addresses and the signatories, meaning where do you have to put the address, where you have to sign, and yeah, formal letters on the left, normal letters left the right. Okay, and then use idioms and similes sparingly to show a good command of language. I think this is a must. at least one or two idiom in one essay. I think that's sufficient enough. That's good enough for you. Um, Paling kurang satu, at least one, right? For poems, keep your answers short and precise, meaning accurate, alright? Tepat. Pendek dan tepat. Ringkas dan tepat. While trying simplify the poem's meaning based on what the question asks. For poems, it is actually very, very simple. They use a figurative language. They use a figurative language, but for poem, you you just need to understand each and every word. If let's say you understand each and every word, uh, you know the meaning of each stanza, I don't think so you will have problem. If let's say they ask you any type of question, definitely you will be able to answer. All right. So for poem, it's not very difficult. It is just that you have to understand uh, the line by line, the meaning, and then you maybe go through few themes, moral values, and all that. Once you master the whole content of the poem, it shouldn't be a problem for you at all. For novel, make sure you know the theme, moral values, main plot, character, motivation to be able to score in this section. So novel, it is more, it's a bigger scope. Okay. So for Dear Mr. Kilmer, we have about 10 chapters. You have to read everything thoroughly. Okay. There is a point where we call as evidence, right, or textual evidence. It is not, you cannot simply give any point. If let's say they ask you a question, you have to give point based on the novel itself. All right. And stop depending on your revision book. Sometimes revision book also can give you wrong concept or idea. Okay, so that's the thing that you have to focus on the novel. Okay, main plot, character, theme, moral values, and finally, do remember the difference between words like your versus you are. Okay, students tend to use your for the in the essay while writing, but you should know what is the meaning of your and you are. Effect versus effect, definitely versus defiantly. This is total different meaning, right? This is something like very rude or disobedient shown by a person, and other similar sounding but different meaning words. For the don'ts, you what basically that you shouldn't do in your paper, it's like you use manglish, short form, and all that. Okay, don't write essay in point form. Make sure to use full sentences and reduce spelling error, meaning that you cannot write essay in point form. It should be in paragraph by paragraph by paragraph. And some students tend to forget about the spacing. Okay, when you have your introduction, you put a space and then you start your writing, and then your second paragraph is the same thing. Okay, so do not write sentences that are too long. Do not use proper punctuation, and then we went to the point form. For the essay, yeah, came back to the space. You have to leave a space, and then you have to start your paragraph. So it's paragraph by paragraph, and then don't make it too small. You crumple everything in a page. Okay, avoid that. You can always ask for the paper during the SPM. They have a lot of empty papers in their hand all the time. So just raise up your hand and ask them some. Okay, it shouldn't be a problem. Do not crumple everything. If let's say they have difficulties in reading your writing, then automatically you will have less mark. Alright, so be aware about that. Okay, lastly, you have to study. It's a must. All right, it's a must to study the novel and the literature. There is no way to escape this. Though you can refer to short notes or reference book, as I told you just now, you can do this. All right, if in case you have a lot of problem, you couldn't memorize, or you have left out, you couldn't understand the words in the novel, you can opt out to your reference book. Reference book usually they have summary by chapters. It is very helpful, but coming back to the evidence, it is better to look from the textbook itself. You have to memorize and be familiar with formal and informal letters. Okay, lastly, this is what you have to memorize. You should know how a formal letter and informal letter work. Okay, got two different type of formal and informal letter. How does it work? Later I'll show you some sample. Shouldn't be a problem. So this is the basic format of SPM. So far, there's no changes. For many years, we have been doing this, but this is what they have been asking for many, many years. Okay, so we will start with a poem to refresh back what you have learned since you have been away from school for, I think, 3 months like that. And maybe now you'll be rushing to finish all your SPM chapters. So now we will start with our Form 4 poem, and then we will also do our Form 5 topic. So we will start with our poem, which is The Living Photograph. This is a very famous poem. It happened to be a real story, so they have make it into a poem, and it's written by Jackie Kay. So then you have to know who is the okay. So you should know who is the writer of the poem. Okay. Sometimes they do ask question, who's the writer? All right. So you should know who has written the poem. So I have put it in a point form. Okay. But I'll explain to you one by one. All right. So the first stanza, actually stanza line 1 to line 7. Line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 will be the stanza 1. All right. My small grandmother is tall there. You can actually, if you have a reference book, or if you Google, you can see the poem with the illustration. Then you can maybe see a good picture of the a grandmother with her grandchild. All right, holding hands, and she looked very tall, tall in the picture. All right, with a straight back and white broderie angler shirt. Okay, she's wearing a white shirt which has embroidered pattern, which they call as white broderie angler shirt. Okay, and then she wears pleated skirt, flat shoes, and grey bun. From here, we can know that the grandmother is a very neat person. Even though she is old, maybe at this age she was about 40 or 50, right? She is not very old, but she is actually moving into the old age. But she's a very neat person, right? You how you can conclude that she's a neat person is from what she's wearing. And then a kind old smile round her eyes. So here you can understand that she is a very kind person. She loves to smile. So you can see that her eyes, there's a smile around her eyes. There's the old people when they smile and there's a wrinkle, it look very. You can see it's in their eyes, all right. Her big hand hold mine. So she's actually holding her granddaughter or the grandchild, all right? It's not mentioned there. White hand in black hand. So the word white hand in black hand shows that two different race, right? There's a two different racial people from two different race is here, or maybe the grandmother is from maybe she's a Caucasian, all right? Okay, how we're going to prove that is in the last line. Her sharp blue eyes look her own date in the eye. Okay, so far in Malaysia or any Asian, we don't have, we don't born with blue eyes, all right? Okay, so she must be from a different race, she must have a different blood relation in order to have blue eyes. Okay, so when they ask you question, what does that mean in white hand, in black hand? So you can conclude that. Her sharp blue eyes look her own date in the eye, meaning that she's not afraid of dying. She knows that the date is a part of their life. You know, it's going to happen soon. Everyone needs to go someday and all that. So she's from here. You can also know that she's a very brave person. So the second stanza, it was true after all that look, my tall grandmother became small. So this is the current. Okay. In the first stanza, you can see that she's talking about what happened before. Maybe when the grandmother was slightly younger, and now when she's becoming older. Okay, this is what happened. Right? It was true after all that look, my tall grandmother became small. Okay, she became small. Why? Because old people when they grow old, okay, they hunch. Okay, they hunch, mereka membongkok. Bila bongkok, mereka nampak lebih kecil. Alright, her back round and hunch. Hunch meaning that she became even smaller. They membongkok. Right, her soup forgot to boil. She went to the awful place grandmothers go. Her soup forgot to boil. meaning that she became forgetful. Old people, they have, when they become old, they tend to forget a lot of things. Okay, menjadi pelupa. So that is one of the things. She forgot to boil her soup. She became forgetful. Okay, she went to the awful place grandmothers go. The word awful here shows that it is somewhere very terrible, right? Somewhere that people don't like. Okay, a place where grandmothers go, meaning that she's dead. Somewhere unknown and unthinkable. Okay, do you know where the people go? We are not sure. We are not certain where do they go. So that's why it's mentioned somewhere unknown and somewhere unthinkable. You cannot imagine what kind of situation or what kind of place it will be. Okay, and the last stanza, it consists of only 3 lines. Okay, but there she is still in the photo with me at 3. So the photo was taken when the persona is 3 years old. The crinkled smile is still living, and this is what happened now, where she misses her grandmother. She still see her in the photo. Okay, she see her as the younger version of the grandmother. Okay, where she was healthy, she was still straight, and she was very pretty with the very neat dress and all that. All right. So the crinkled smile is still living. Crinkle meaning the wrinkles on her face. Okay. So when she smiles, you can see the wrinkles. Okay, so I can ask question. If the question if somewhere unknown and unthinkable refer to can I write an afterlife place? Yes, but you it's considered a terrible place where we cannot say it's heaven or hell. According, some people believe there's a heaven and hell, but we cannot mention that kind of thing when they question you. Okay, you can say it's afterlife place, all right, or somewhere that you cannot imagine. Okay, you cannot describe. All right, next is the moral value. Moral value is very important in a poem. This is to sum up what do you learn. Okay, moral value, nilai-nilai murni. What do you learn from the poem? How do you understand? How well do you understand the poem? It is based on the moral value. Actually, we have another element called as theme. Theme and moral value usually works together, right? And usually my students will question me, teacher, do we have to memorize moral value? Do we have to memorize themes? Because uh, I have two reference book consists of different moral value and theme. Actually, even when we mark SPM papers, we don't have a specific answer script for that, right? It's not available, meaning the teacher can accept any answer from the students if the answer is correct, right? So you can come up with any idea of yours, your own moral value, right? As long it is related to the poem, then it is correct. Okay, moral value usually it will be longer, and it would be better if you could use the models like we must, we can, all right, we should. When you use that, that is moral value. Okay, how to differentiate theme? Theme will be usually shorter. So when the explained version, when the expand version of theme is the moral value, usually it's the same. So it's a easy work on you. You don't have to memorize much, right? Okay, let's look at the first. We must treasure our loved one when they are alive, meaning that you should spend as much time as we can with our loved one while they are still living. You see how much the granddaughter misses her, right? So when she passed away, and she must be a very lovely person, right? That's why the granddaughter miss her. Okay. It is difficult to lose a family member. Yes, it's always difficult to lose a family member, especially if she's a very lovely person or he's a very lovely person. Okay, to deal with the death of a loved one. This shown by the granddaughter. She grieved over the death of the grandmother. Right. The persona loses her grandmother when she was younger, but she will always remember her. You can see in stanza 3 that she said she's still living, she's still breathing there, okay, based on the picture, because the last smile given by the grandmother was very, I think it was very, she remembered that, right? And we must never forget the importance of family relationship. We should not forget to love and care for our family, especially our grandparents who are the pillars of a family. When they are old and sick, we must continue to take care of them. Okay, it happens to be that most of our parents are very busy to take care of their parents. So easy way is sending them to home, old folks home, by paying money, even paying or not paying, they just send them. So I don't think so. This is something very related to the poem. They say we should take care of them, right? Because they trust us. We are someone very close to them. So here, the whole moral value shows that it is very important for us to love someone, okay, when they're still alive, and then it's how you cope when you lose a family member, and we should not forget the importance of family relationship. Okay, so this is the moral value. Okay, I do have a summary of stanza 1. Okay, you can have a look. Maybe I'll read it also. Summary of stanza 1. The persona is looking at an old photograph of her grandmother and herself. She described the she described the photograph. Her grandmother is standing tall and straight, dressed in a white embroidered lace blouse with a pleated skirt and flat shoe. Her grey hair is pulled neatly into a bun. She's smiling kindly while holding the persona's hand in hers, giving her the security and comfort. The white hand in black hand, they are holding each other. It is written here. It is clear that they come from a mixed race family. The last line seems to suggest that the persona knows that her grandmother's death will come soon. So they are aware that everyone might die, okay, and how brave she is looking into it, right? So summary of stanza 2 describe about the photograph, and in meaning the first stanza about the photograph, and second stanza is remembering how her grandmother later uh, become older and become ill. The persona recalls how the grandmother soon grows thinner and more fragile. Fragile, sangat rapuh. Okay, if we use for a person, they are very weak. So when she's the stanza 2 is about how she turned into she grow old and she become very weak and ill, all right. And then it also shows that how she becomes very forgetful. Okay, the line her soup forgot to boil shows that she become very forgetful, and then eventually she passed away, and upon her death she goes to an unimaginable place, the word that unthinkable, right. And summary of stanza 3, this is very short, okay. However, in the photograph, the persona grandmother will forever be alive. So meaning that she she can just recall the presence of the grandmother by looking at the picture, because of maybe she's a very kind person. She gives a very warm, pleasant smile. So makes that she's still living. She's real. She's alive there. Okay, so there is a bit themes. As I told you earlier, for moral value, it's a longer version. Okay, when you make it shorter, which is your theme, so you look at the first one, the everlasting quality of a photograph, right? The photograph shows the moment. What is captured in a photograph will remain alive forever. Okay, in the poem, the persona grandmother has already passed away. However, in the photograph, she will always be healthy and alive. So here it shows that how important of you taking a good picture, right? I think y'all are even more advanced than us. You know how to take picture now. You know how to edit. There are benefits. There are good things of taking pictures and saving it. So you know when to use it. When you miss someone, all right, or you lose someone, there is a photograph as a evidence, as a proof of them living. And number two, I have only two examples here. All right, date is definite outcome for all of us, meaning mati itu pasti, right? It will happen to everyone. Okay, in the poem, the persona recalls how her grandmother was once strong and healthy, but soon grows older and becomes ill. From the stanza 1, she was a bit young, not too young, but she was healthier compared to the stanza 2. Stanza 2, she became a bit ill, right? And then the last few lines shows that she became forgetful and she passed away. Okay, so that's what here the theme is about. So it shows about they in the end the grandmother passed away and she keeps a photograph for the memory. Okay, So I have separated into stanza 1, stanza 2, and stanza 3. All right. So can you give me the answer? Can anyone try? So Atira asked that if the question about theme, do we need to explain? Yes, you have to give the theme and explain briefly. Depend on the marks given to you, right? So if it's just 1 mark, I think you can give a theme and a very short, brief explanation. Okay, I can say she wears little skirt and shoes. Is it correct? Right. Uh, yes, but not very accurate. You have three things to mention in question one. All right. Okay. When the question asks what is the persona's grandmother wearing, she wears a white broderie English shirt, okay, pleated skirt and flat shoes. Only if you answer all three, you will get 1 mark. Right, so you have to understand that, but do not worry that they will provide you the poem in the exam paper, right? Because I have to scroll up everything. So there will be three things that you have to describe: the white shirt, and then her pleated skirt, and also her flat shoes. All right, so you get 1 mark there. Okay, what does this tell you about her? As I explained just now, I explained to you that when you see about her appearance, about she wearing a white shirt at that age, with a pleated skirt and a flat shoe, you can definitely, say that she is a very neat or tidy person, right? Seorang yang sangat kemas, mementingkan pemakaian, right? She's a person who concerned about her appearance, or she's a very neat or tidy person. Why do you think Persona's grandmother is small but tall? Why do you think Persona grandmother is small but tall? Because her posture is good. The answer, even in your summary, you can find that she's tall, but she's quite thin. She's quite small, because her posture is good, right? She's standing straight. This is in stanza 1. When you say that she's growing older, that's the reason why she's small but tall, that is wrong. That is about stanza 2. Even in your even in your SPM question, they will actually give you the points where stanza 1 or in line 1, in which line and all that. Number 3, what do you infer from the line white hand in black hand? Okay, you can say that the persona and her grandmother are of different races. Okay, that's the simplest or easiest way of you writing it. Okay, which word in this stanza means the same as terrible? Awful is the another meaning of the word used terrible there. Why do you think the persona's grandmother became small? Okay, now this is for the stanza 2. Yes, very good. Her back is hunched. The grandmother becomes old and her back was hunched. And number 3, in this stanza, to whom does the word grandmothers refer? What does the word grandmothers refer? It refers to the persona photograph. No, in stanza 2 they said that she went to the awful place grandmothers go. So what does this word grandmothers go means? Gigi said old people. Yes, actually it's almost, but not too precise. Old people who die, all right? Because the grandmothers mean here in the stanza 2 means that those who have died. No, so old people who die. The stanza 3, who is me? Who is the me in this book? Yes, the persona, right? So, okay, and you have to always remember there's difference between the persona and the poet, right? Okay, why is the grandmother's smile described as wrinkle? Because she's old, all right? She has wrinkles around her mouth and her eyes, all right? The third question, why is the smile still living and breathing? Why is the smile still living and breathing? Meaning they're asking reason, all right? You have to infer. Why the granddaughter feels that she is still living, all right? Actually, she believes that the grandmother's smile is still living and breathing because it was very genuine, right? It was it's a kind, it's a genuine smile, right? From the person. If let's say I'm posing and I'm smiling fakingly, I'm giving a smile, a fake smile, would you have a good feeling about it? Definitely no, right? So because she was giving a very genuine smile, so she always remember her grandmother and she knows that she's still living. It looks very real. Okay, so when they ask you this kind of question, your answer would be because she was genuine, right? Or she was kind, or it was a pleasant smile. This is actually more into writing, but it's okay. We can try also. Do you like the person's photograph or when she grew older? Meaning in the third stanza, or the third stanza and the first stanza is about the photograph. Okay, when she will be younger or when she grew older. Which one do you like and why? Joey say that I like the grandmother when she's younger because she's still healthy and look fair. Okay, well, yes, she looked healthy, she looked neat, right? She looked very presentable. She's concerned about her appearance, right? While if let's say we look at the stanza 2, she looked very weak, she's forgetful. Obviously, we feel very sad of looking at someone that really love in that kind of position, right? So you can definitely say you like the photograph, okay, because she looks healthy and happy. You can also say the same thing. I like the grandmother when she's younger because she looks healthy and keep her smile, right? So she is smiling in the picture. It looks better than the weak one and the ill, forgetful grandmother. All right. So for the next question, okay, in your opinion, so it's your opinion. It's totally your opinion. You can say yes or you can say no. Actually, you must say yes or no, right? Yes to agree with the living photograph, meaning it is suitable, or no because it is not suitable, and then you have to give reason. I think it would be the best title given because she believes that the person is still living, right, with her in the memories, in the picture, everywhere, right? So it resembles the grandmother. It's not dead. So she don't feel very sad about losing someone she really loved. Okay, so the title is suitable, right? Okay, so this is the writing section of 119 SPM English. All right. Our English, writing English is also known as 1119. Okay. So it's divided into two sections, as I think I've informed just now during the format explanation and all that, but I'll just go through with you very quickly. Okay, so for the writing section, okay, now we move on to something even more serious where you have more marks to fight for, right? So the writing section of 1119 SPM English is divided into two. Okay, so you have paper 1, section A, and section B. Section A, you have directed writing. Time suggested, you can take up until 45 minutes for this writing, okay, since you have lesser words to work on. Okay, the word that you have to work on is 200 to 250 words. If it's more, shouldn't be a problem, but if it's lesser, you have to check on your points, right? You have, I'll share with you about how they mark, right? How they segregate the markings and all that. If let's say it's 35 marks, I'll tell you briefly. If 35 marks, 3 to 4 marks for your format, right? Other marks are for your language and also for your content. Language meaning how do you use your grammar, your idioms, your spelling, how well you have written it, okay? Everything comes under language. It's almost like 20 marks. And another 12 marks is for the points. Usually, they will provide you all the points in directed writing. It will be almost like 12 to 13 points, and you have to use everything. When we mark, we will tick one by one on top of your point. So anda mesti gunakan points yang diberikan dalam kertas. You must use. It's not that you should. I would prefer to say you must, because when we see the words uh, used in your essay, automatically you will get marks. And then this will be the formatted essay. As I told you just now, your section A will be consist of will be article. It could be talk. It could be speech. Speech and talk is similar. It could be a report. It could be a letter writing, informal or formal writing. So you as a student should know each every format differences, right? So if let's say it's a formal writing, macam mana format dia? Kalau informal, how does where should you put the address? Where should you put your signature? Where's the date? Right? Uh, everything, right? You should well aware about it, but we will go through. We will do each and every essay writing. We still have time, I believe. All right. And then, yeah, so you can see the time 45 minutes, you have marks, 35 marks, you have 200 to 250 words that you have to focus on, and the notes provided. This is for the section A. Then section B. Section B is the continuous writing. They might give you about 5 questions, right? You have to select only one. Okay, you select one which you feel comfortable, which you feel confident. You understand each and every question. Kalau kamu tak faham question, memang susah. It might be out of content, right? Or in PM we call as karangan terpeso. Hilang 50 markah. So be very careful when you choose your question. The time suggested here is approximately 60 minutes, right? The marks given is 50 marks. 50 marks ni tak ada format. There's no format, there's no point. Okay? The 50 marks is only for the language because for this question, they only give you a title. So, bila kamu hanya pilih tajuk sahaja, tak ada points atau tak ada format diberikan, so markah hanya untuk language. Okay, the composition length, right? The words that approximately, now they have increased, right? It's supposed to be 300 to 350 words. The more, right? Okay, and notes are not provided, and there are types of genres, meaning they have like 10 different, it could be more than this, right? But usually informal formal letters doesn't count down under paper 1 section B. Okay, and today we're going to work on speech or talk. So for speeches and talks are delivered verbally by somebody on formal or social hold on, are usually about a specific topic to pass on information or for a specific purpose during the occasion. Okay, somebody on formal or social occasion. They are usually about a specific topic to pass on information or for a specific purpose to suit the occasion. Alright, example of types of speeches and talks. Speech of welcome, thank you speech. Speech of welcome is when you become the organizer or president of something, when you're welcoming someone coming to your place or to your organization, to your school. Thank you speech when you win an award, when you're giving an when you have given an opportunity by someone, so you are thanking someone, so the whole speech about thank you, right? And then a speech of congratulations, speech to bid farewell, speech to honor somebody. Okay, this is also like something similar to welcome someone, speech at an opening ceremony, or you are giving talks, right? Talks on healthcare, how to choose the right career. These are just some examples. Importance of wetland, the proper use of mobile phone, taking care of senior citizen, role of co-curriculum in school, or reading as a hobby. So these are the step by step when you have to write a speech. So it's very simple, class. For speech or talk, you don't have a very complex format. Dia sangat senang. It's just a salutation or greeting. Okay, meaning good morning. If let's say your target audience, you have to read your question. When they say you're a president of a fitness club, you are giving a talk on how to or on benefit of exercising, for example, right? So you just have to greet your members, your fitness club members, and then you are stating what is the purpose of you standing here. You are giving a talk on benefit of exercise, so that will be your introduction. That's all. You don't need to write address or date, or you don't need to put a signature date on the occasion. So imagine macam kita bagi ucapan lah. So you don't need to write anything else. So that's the easiest format that you can score. Okay, we go through also. So when making a speech or giving talk, we need to follow a format. So you have to greet the audience with an appropriate greeting. For example, good morning, good evening, right, ladies and gentlemen. Or if let's say your audience is your school teacher, your school friend, your classmates, so you have to mention that good morning to the principal, teachers, and my beloved classmate or schoolmates. All right. So you have to mention your audience there. That's the most important. And then you have to rank them in order. Right? It's mentioned here. Address the audience in order of rank, starting with the most. For example, if let's say you have a dato or datin, you are giving a speech, you are welcoming someone, right? So you should start with them, all right? Then you go to your classmate and all that. So you have to rank them. And then you have to introduce yourself to the audience by stating your name, position. If let's say you are coming from a society or a club, you have to mention, I am the president or I am the president of fitness club, and so on. Or if let's say you are prefect, so you can say I'm a head prefect of SMK, what. So you have to mention your position if it is given in the question. So everything will come back to the question, all right? And then if let's say you are coming from a company, you state your company name. Okay, then you introduce the topic. Why are you there? What is the purpose of you uh, giving a speech? Okay, if let's say you are stating, you are giving a speech, you are welcoming someone, so you are telling what is the reason of the arrival of the person to your place. Okay, if let's say you are giving a talk about, as I told you earlier, the benefit of exercising. Okay, so you are giving a benefit. You are saying that do not. Okay, another one more thing. When you write your introduction, it can be short, right? It shouldn't be a problem. Usually, students are a bit afraid that, oh, cikgu, perangan tak nampak sama. Okay, some are big, some are, I mean, longer, some is shorter. Shouldn't be a problem. Introduction, usually you keep it very precise. Okay, very short, not too short. You have few lines, okay, but do not include any points in your introduction, right? That's why we have body. We have separate body. Kita ada perangan lain untuk badan. So your points will come under your body. So in your introduction, you have salutation. You stating the purpose. Why are you standing here? All right. And then you introduce the topic. That's all, right? Or you can even state the purpose. Why are you here? You are creating awareness on what? All right. Should not give any points in your introduction. All right. So you can also look here, right? They have mentioned that talk to your audience to keep their attention, use suitable phrases to get their attention, to show that you are not talking above them. Like, you are just talking merely without making any without not taking their attention, not grabbing their attention, right? So use the correct words. Pitch your words to the level of the audience, as student and adult have different expectation when attending or speech or talk. Yes. So when you're talking to adults, it's totally different. When you're talking to a kid, maybe you are as a president of something, you are giving a speech to a little kid, maybe it's totally different. All right. Use humor to capture the audience attention, but do not overdo it. Okay. I have marked SPM paper, and then I found that there's one student who loves to put too much idioms in every paragraph. Right? I don't think so. That is something suitable. You shouldn't overuse anything. Here they use the example of humor. Okay, joke. For it, it's not only joke. Even any high vocabulary word. Everything there's a limit. So set a limit in your wording. Maybe one or two idiom in one whole essay. It's sufficient enough. Do not use idiom for every paragraph. If facts example are used, quote the source if possible. And yeah, if let's say you are very strong enough, you are taking a factual essay, right? And if you remember, please use the correct factual, right? Even though the teachers might check, right? You don't know that if let's say they might check and then it proves to be wrong, then you might have some deduction there. So make sure you have your facts right, and then if possible, try to make reference. Okay, read the composition through to check for spelling mistake, grammar, and punctuation. This is not only for speech, this is for all the essay. That's why before you start your essay, draft out. Selalu draft out dulu, buat brainstorming. You brainstorm yourself, right? You come up, you give your mind some idea, you expand the idea in the question, and then you start writing in the paper. I've seen many of them, they start writing straight away in the paper, and then they put panka and all that. It look very messy. So we don't want that to happen. So you want to keep your paper tidy and neat, and also you to be very organized as a student. You always brainstorm your idea, you expand. And then after you finish with everything, when you have time, tolong jangan tidur. You always see the student, SPM student, you can go out like a college student, so you feel very proud. Siapa nak keluar dulu, so you keluar dulu. Jangan. I think that's a very bad idea. Alright, so at least for 5 to 10 minutes, read back, go through slowly, check all the mistakes that you have done. Alright, you check everything, make sure that everything is right, then come. Okay, use the present tense and keep the language simple and direct. Unless the question is about sorry, it happened a few years ago, or yang telah jadi. Okay, so you can use the past tense. So here the present tense for the direct question. You can see here it's a sample of speech or talk. It's a very short, right? So you can see the function of A. A is to greet the audience. So how they greet the audience? A very good morning to Miss Julie, the teacher, advisor, and members of the nature club. Right? This is the greeting. Introduce yourself. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Idris, the activities manager of the Nikki Island Resort. It is my duty to make sure you have an unforgettable activity filled weekend here. And then you have to introduce the topic. I would like to brief you on some do's and don'ts that you have to observe and some outdoor activities that you will be involved in. Alright. And then D, you have the purpose of the speech. We normally explain the do's and don'ts to visitors to avoid misunderstanding. Main points, right? So these will be the main points, the bodies. This is a very short sample. You don't exactly follow this. This is just to show that where does each details comes in the elements, all right? So this will be the body. Okay, so they have like do not pluck any flowers, do not take away any shell, do observe the regulation, and then lastly, do take part in all the activities, do relax and enjoy yourself. The 6 points has been given here, but it's not excellent, right? So in your original task, in your original paper or your question, you have to expand them. Okay, you have to expand them, you have to explain everything, give topic sentences, and also examples. Your point should comes in body. Nama pun body kan, isi. So isi kena ada di tempat isi. Jangan tumbat di tempat pengenalan, right? Pengenalan is just a mere introduction, right? Same goes to conclusion. Conclusion, you are just concluding everything. If let's say your brain doesn't work that time, kamu rasa macam, oh, I cannot think of any conclusion, make it short like this, alright? Do not put any point, right? I have read many sample answer from my students. So usually they write when they don't have any idea. They will tell that. So as conclusion, you should do not pluck any flowers. Then they repeat again all the points. So you shouldn't do that, alright? So if let's say you couldn't think of a conclusion means kamu sum up everything, right? So if let's say you couldn't sum up everything by using a new word, you can just give a simple conclusion as you still get marks, right? Okay, so Ganesh, Kugan, everyone understand, right? I hope that I made it very clear for speech and talk, because speech and talk is the easiest after article. I would say that if let's say for format, kalau lah student dapat speech and article, memang kamu boleh dapat markah. Boleh faham? Compared to the formal letter or informal letter, for me, it's slightly tougher because the students tend to forget the format. Kalau kamu tak lupa format, memang tak ada masalah. Usually the students tend to forget where to write, where to underline, there's a gap and all that. So we move on to the next. So we're going to do a speech or talk on how to communicate with people with disabilities. Okay, what do you understand with people with disabilities? If let's say in formal letter, kita ada 2 address, okay, dan satu address tu we have to underline, kena pisahkan. So yang itu kalau kita tak buat memang tak dapat markah because your format is not complete. Maybe kamu akan dapat 2 markah sahaja atau 1 markah. It depends on the person who marks, right? Kalau orang tu garang, memang dapat 1 markah lah. Lagi satu for article. Usually article, the students, they have a lot of teachers, right? And we believe in our own teachers. So biasanya student-student ni dia akan ikut cakap cikgu dia. Tapi cikgu yang mark ialah orang lain. Okay. So when the markers check your paper and they find the format is slightly different. Bila saya mark pun saya pernah dapat yang article is totally different when you have to write the title. If let's say it's about how to communicate with people with disabilities, you have to write an article. So this how to communicate with people with disabilities will become the title in the middle, tengah-tengah ya. It's not starting from the in the beginning. It's in the center. It's in the middle, and below that terus tulis nama. You write written by or by your name. Underline. Topic underline. Simple. Dapat berapa markah? You get almost 3 to 4 marks for this. Why do you want to miss this, right? And some teachers they advise the students to write their name below after the essay. But what happened? The markers tend to overlook. Kadang-kadang mereka tak nampak or mereka ingat oh student ni lupa. So terus format dapat. Okay, now come back to our essay. So how to communicate with people with disabilities? So here they said that actually the question is quite long. I make it very short to the title. Okay, you listen to the questions, alright? Your question is, you are a student counselor in a special education school. You are conducting a lesson on how to communicate with people with disabilities in the presence of your teacher counselor. So you have to write out the talk that you have prepared for your class. You got the question? So you are a student. It's very simple. You are a student counselor in a special education school. Special education school meaning school that has different students with different abilities. Orang yang tak boleh nampak, orang yang tak boleh bercakap, they are visually impaired, they are physically impaired, or it could be even dyslexia, right? Many kind of problems, or okay, that we call that disabilities. So you are the student counselor and you are giving a talk, right? And how to communicate. Bagaimana kamu boleh bercakap? How do you talk to them? So everyone, if we are normal people, we can just talk to other people in a normal way. But sometimes we tend to hold ourselves. Kita tak nak bercakap dengan orang yang ada masalah sebab kita takut mereka tak faham. They don't understand or we don't understand how to talk to them. Okay, so this essay is going to teach you on how you're going to communicate with people with disabilities. So let's look at the point. Your first point is about communication is a natural process, exchange of greetings. So before that, as I explained to you just now, that you have to come up with a format. So format for the talk is, what is the format for talk? So you have to give a greeting, right? So you have to give a greeting and an introduction, the purpose of your talk, who are you, when you have a position, as I mentioned earlier, you are a student counselor, you have to state that you are a student counselor, and then you have to tell that why are you standing here, why are you giving the talk, or what is the talk about, what is the title of the talk, right? So that will be your introduction. Yes, Tizwan, speech format, a very good morning to the, okay, to who? As I mentioned just now, you are a student counselor in a special education, and also the teacher counselor is there. So who are you referring to? So it will be a very good morning to the, you are mentioning your teacher first, or the principal, teachers, and the students. Alright. After that, you are mentioning your purpose. Aziz said Assalamualaikum. Can Assalamualaikum and good morning to the principal, teachers, and my. You can tell that students, right? So because you are student counselor there, you can say you are telling your calling them student also can, or you are calling them as your fellow class schoolmate also, both also, right? Okay, then you are stating your purpose or who are you. So you can tell that I, as a student counselor, would like to give a talk or would give a speech on the title. So you have to mention the title on how to communicate with people with disabilities. Okay, that's all. If you want to make sure that you are in a safe side, your introduction is supposed to be very short and simple, right? When you want to put your first point in, you make it in a separate paragraph. Okay, so we will move to the next paragraph. Okay, so how do you say communication, natural process, exchange of greetings? Okay, so you can tell that the process of communication between two people, okay, is very natural. Okay, when you see people, you automatically say hi. Or if a Muslim, we say Assalamualaikum. Or, you just mentioned according to how you have been taught, your own uh, welcome. Or, we have our own welcome in our language and all that. So you can tell that communication is the process of communication between two people is very natural. Okay, we greet exchange or we exchange or it's a natural process. Okay, as we exchange of greetings. Okay, that's how you do the first line. And all these points you have to use it, right? And then you give more examples. Okay, so how you're going to explain your second point? People with disabilities, awkwardness, normal, same expectation. Alright, okay. So, class, now let's look at the second point. People with disabilities and awkwardness. Right. How do you explain this point? As at first you say that communication is a natural process, how we exchange our greetings. Okay. How about the disabilities people? How do they exchange greetings? What do you understand? For example, the impaired, speech impaired is someone who cannot talk. Right. Sight impaired is a person who cannot see. Okay, and then if let's say we say that hearing impaired, someone who couldn't hear, right? A person who cannot hear. So how does they feel? They must not feel very comfortable in exchanging greetings with others. So they might feel very awkward. Okay, so that's how you explain here. People with this abilities, right? What kind of people? Who are they, right? So when you explain everything and then you say that they feel very awkward in exchange greeting. Okay, so you have to explain one by one, right? So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, you have to explain the people with disabilities. As I told earlier, you have like actually there's a lot, right? So you just mentioned three: the sight impaired or hearing impaired, and then speech impaired, and then you tell that they might they might feel awkward. They might not feel very comfortable, right? Many people feel uncomfortable because they are not they are different from others. Okay, so you explain that, and then or maybe normal people also sometimes we may get uncomfortable when we see them. We don't know how to approach them. We don't know how to give a proper greetings, right? So that will be the second point. So next. Actually, you can combine them into one paragraph and then you can come up with another paragraph. Okay, normal, same expectation. Okay, when you talk about disabled people, you should bear in mind that they are also a normal human being, right? They are nothing different. You shouldn't look at them differently, right? You shouldn't look at them differently and make them feel uncomfortable, or you treat them differently. So bear in mind that all human beings are the same. So that is normal. They have the same expectations that you have. Do you like to get treated differently? No. So I think that they also feel the same. They want the same expectation. They want the same respect from us, right? So we have to treat them equally, right? Then physically disabled, for example, a person in a wheelchair, uh, and then they offer assistance. Okay, they need help. Offer assistance means they need help, right? If you see anyone on the wheelchair, right, and then you saw that they are struggling, okay, you should offer your assistance without any sincerely. Okay, if they say no, I can handle, you shouldn't insist, right? If let's say they refuse, I don't think so. We should insist. Okay, we shouldn't force them. Okay, we should ask permission. Okay, whenever we want to touch them or we want to talk to them, we want to help them. Even though we are sincere in helping them, but we need their permission, right? Because they might feel shy or they might feel uncomfortable. And then the most important thing is talk to eye level. When you talk to them, you should maintain at the eye level, meaning you look at them eye to eye. Okay, that's a way of how you respect them. Yeah, we need to get permission before we touch them or we talk to them, so they feel comfortable, right? And then when we talk to them, we should look at their eye. Okay, that's it's like a symbol of respect. When we talk to people, we should look at their eyes, in the eye level, right? Eye to eye, so that we don't look at the other parts of their body, or any, maybe you look at the wheelchair and then they feel very offended. They might get offended, right? So we should avoid that. This shows your sincerity and respect for the person that you are concerned. Okay, so you explain that wisely. You explain what does physically disabled means, and then how do you offer help for them. Okay, you can give a situation, perhaps you can give a situation, and then you can also mention about the permission, as I mentioned, and then how do you talk to them. Okay, because physically usually they can talk normal, as a normal people, so you should just maintain your eye level and you talk to them. Okay, if let's say they are visually, when you communicating with a visually impaired person, visually meaning a person that couldn't see, right? uh, you identify, first identify yourself to put the person at ease. Okay, touch the person arm slightly. There's a lot of way how you want to uh, approach them. Maybe you can touch them. This one you have to touch, all right? So you can know that, where are you standing. Okay, you are right near them, and then you will try to indicate that you are talking to him or her. Try talk facing the person and speak in a normal tone of voice. Okay, you do not scare them, and then you don't have to shout, or you don't have to go very near to the person. They might get very uncomfortable, or they might get scared. Okay, so maintain a comfortable distance. Okay, let the person know if you're leaving, as you do not want him or her talk to himself or herself. All right. So when you are done, so you give them a gesture. Maybe you can touch them slightly as well, so you can tell that, oh, okay, that you are leaving. All right. Okay. And then be specific when giving direction. If let's say they are asking you direction, all right. So you have to be very specific. You have to consider that they are visually impaired, right? And then you have to talk naturally. As I told just now, you have to control your voice. You don't have to scream, or you don't have to go too near, right? So that is about a visually impaired, right? Okay. And lastly, hearing impaired. Hearing impaired is a person who cannot hear when they have problem in hearing. And you might have a different ways of communicating with hearing impaired, right? Use the medium of communication they are used to it, right? If let's say you don't know the sign language, make it clear. You can converse through interpreter meaning a medium, a person who can help you to communicate with, right? So you get a help. If let's say you couldn't get someone, then you try to use a very simple sign language that you are able to use, all right? But usually they learn professional sign language. Okay, that is about how you communicate with people with disabilities. Okay, so for the conclusion, you can come up with your own idea, own words on how you want to conclude, or as I show you the sample just now. Okay, you can also say that thank you for your attention, and I hope you have a pleasant day, or work hard and you will make a good counselor, because you are giving tips to your other students as well. All right, so you as a student counselor, you are giving tips. Okay, so that's all.